Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. They're funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today's video is Sussy Sunday, where we try and find the truth. Our first post comes from the Am I the A-hole subreddit, posted by Songberg Suki. Am I the a-hole for looking up public records to see why my husband's friend went to prison? I, 35 female, have been married to Jack, 35 male, for 9 years now. No kids. My husband reconnected with his childhood best friend Denver 5 years ago. He's a really nice guy, and I became really close friends with his wife Cassie. We all hang out weekly since they moved super close to us 3 years ago. A few years back, I remember asking my husband why he and Denver lost touch, since they got along so well. He kinda shrugged and said, life stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I get it, and moved on. We invited Denver and Cassie to join us on a week-long camping trip. On the second night, we sat by the fire just talking and drinking beers. Denver made a really good meal for us out of just random snack food ingredients. I asked how he learned to make this, and he laughed and said, well, in prison, you learn to get pretty creative. I tried to hide my surprise, but obviously failed. Denver was confused and said, what, you didn't know? I mean, I spent a majority of my 20s in prison. He looked at Jack and said, seriously, dude? You didn't tell her? Jack just shrugged, and I was like, no, I didn't know. And tried to pivot the conversation. It was awkward for a split second, but we moved on. I assumed that Jack didn't tell me because he wanted to respect his friend's privacy. It happened in the past, and it's not my business. However, I'm not gonna lie, I got super curious and looked up his public records to see what happened. After, I was like, oh okay then, anyways, and didn't think about it or bring it up again for the rest of the trip. It wasn't until after the trip, my husband asked me to be honest with him, and asked if I looked up Denver's records. I shrugged and said, yeah, I did, but obviously it doesn't matter or change anything. Jack was visibly angry, and asked why I didn't ask Denver myself. I was confused and was like, I didn't think you were supposed to ask stuff like that. He said, then wouldn't that give you a clue that maybe it's not okay to go poking your nose where it doesn't belong? I pointed out that Denver was actually surprised that I didn't know, so he clearly doesn't treat it like it's some huge secret. I assumed it wasn't a big deal since he mentioned it so casually. Also, I admitted I was just curious too. Jack then accused me of making a big deal out of it. I said, no, I'm not. To be honest, I don't even understand why we're even having a conversation about this. Jack then yelled at me to stop acting dense, and I'm missing the point. I told him, if anything, he's the one making a huge deal out of it. I didn't even bring it up. He did. Plus, it's literally public information anyone can see, anonymously. We went back and forth until I called a timeout. We both agreed to take some time to cool our heads and talk about it later. Honestly, I have no idea why he's getting so upset over this. Sure, curiosity killed the cat, but I kept it to myself. I didn't think to bring it up or make a conversation, even in private with my husband. Because, like I said, it doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, it's not like he's a pedo or beats women, so who am I to judge? Just to clarify, since I'm sure the comments will suggest this, I am not, nor have I ever been, a gossip. Am I the a-hole? I was so confused, like, why is your husband so secretive and angry over this? Then I saw the first comment. It says, check your husband's record. And now for your unethical life hack. Posted by MindBlocksKey. Catch the office thief by putting an undercooked kidney bean in your lunch. According to Wikipedia, a single undercooked kidney bean can cause severe nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. So, if your coworker runs off to the bathroom after lunch, you will know who it is, and they're getting their just desserts. Does this mean that kidney beans are poisonous until you cook them? I wonder who decided to cook the poisonous bean to see if it would stop being poisonous. What a mad lad. Down in the comments, Evil Bad Grade says, as a kid, I had a bully who kept going through my lunchbox and stealing the snacks. So, my brother and I hatched a plan. We got some chocolate laxatives and stuffed them inside powdered mini donuts. My friends and I were laughing the whole day, waiting to see who it was that was stealing my snacks. Go figure, by mid-afternoon we saw my bully hunched over uncomfortably at his desk, then run to the bathroom multiple times. Wouldn't you know that my problem went away completely? Never had any more issues with someone stealing my lunch snacks in school. Hakuna Nevada says, my mother made castor oil cookies and used blue powder that turns into an ink that stains your hands. The school refused to help us find who was stealing my brother's lunch, so mother figured it was up to her. And Zark7 says, one ghost pepper chip in the middle of your sandwich. So the next 3 stories all relate to this. One person uses a really powerful laxative, another uses super hot chili, and a third straight up intentionally undercooks the food. People really shouldn't eat food that's not theirs. Not just because it's a dick move. If someone's out to harm you, they could do it with the perfect cover. Would they even get into any legal trouble for this? If it can't be proven as intentional. Posted by Wild Billy Redneck. Lunch thief's just dessert. Years ago, I had a lunch thief. It was about the 12th time complaining to HR about people stealing my lunch. There's a mandatory reporting every 3rd or 4th instance. I was seething about not a damn thing being done, and I still had to go and buy something to eat. I was bitching to my doctor at the yearly checkup, and he got a smile, saying, "You're constipated then?" I was dumb and said, "No, why?" He wrote me a prescription for some holy F laxative with instructions to mix it in with your meal for maximum effect. At which point, I knew the plan. I wish I could say they pooped their pants, but no. They ate my sandwich with the special avocado sauce. About an hour after lunch, I went to HR and reported 2 things. 1, my lunch was stolen again, and 2, my medication was stolen. HR, so you got hit by the lunch thief again and your medication was in the bag? Me, yes. I had some digestive problems and my doctor prescribed me a powerful laxative and advised me to mix it in with my midday meal. HR going white. You what? Me smiling. I mixed in a prescription-grade laxative with my food, per doctor's orders. Well, being that stealing prescribed medication is a criminal offence, the police were called, and found the lead man from the department over, absolutely pooping his brains out. He was furious and accused me of poisoning his food. I asked, at what point did you get the idea that that food was for you? Furthermore, now I no longer have the medication that was prescribed for my condition. It was about this time he knew he effed up and shut his mouth until he got a lawyer. One of my buddies from high school took his position, so now I can make and eat my hoagies. I have no clue where the lunch thief went after his fines and community service. When Opie said that the HR lady went white, I thought she was the lunch thief, who just realised they were in for a rough day. Our next story also comes from the Pro Revenge subreddit, posted by Nebraska Stig. Some like it hot. Reading a recent stolen food PR reminded me I too have a similar life experience to share. True story. I'd taken an R&D internship for a food company over the summer. For housing accommodations, the company had set me up in a local college dorm that was previously a retirement home, so it basically had individual rooms and bathrooms, but one large commercial kitchen. It was summer, and the school didn't have a summer program, but allowed 2 full kids to move in at the beginning of summer. One was rarely there, but the other was constantly in the building, and oftentimes had multiple friends over. Given the kitchen setup, we all stored our food there. It's a no-brainer, you shouldn't take what's not yours. But immediately, I had various food items go missing, or being consumed regularly, sodas, empty boxes of cereal being put back on the shelf, etc. I initially posted a sign on the fridge to not eat other people's food, and also confronted both of them about my food going missing after the sign was up. But it didn't stop, particularly when I headed out of town for weekends. After complaining about the situation to my manager at work, they helped me formulate the perfect pro-revenge. Given I was doing R&D work on food products, I was responsible for getting various ingredient samples to use for new recipes. My manager suggested that I get some capsaicin extracts for my research, even though we weren't doing anything in that realm for flavor profiles. Well, I found a company that had various Scoville unit extracts, and I asked for a variety to see what would work best for our applications. Well, they delivered, with some small 2-ounce bottles of 50k, 100k, and 250k Scoville extracts. So I didn't actually know what any of that meant, so I googled it. According to Google, when it comes to raw heat, pepper extracts are at the top of the fiery food chain. I ended up putting the 250k in a travel-sized spray bottle, mixed in with some water to help as a carrier, and wearing some gloves and a mask borrowed from work, applied to the commonly stolen food items with a liberal spraying of my mixture. Mainly cereal, chips, crackers, jugs of milk, and the lip of a few soda cans. For the snacks, I actually put some into a separate bag and left them open to dry before mixing back into the original packaging. I did this in a different dorm room in my wing, as I know well enough how potent this can be in enclosed spaces. I did it right before another trip out of town, and when I returned, I found that some of the chips, cereal, and milk was missing, plus 2 of the 3 cans of soda I doctored. I never got to see the result, and no one ever said anything, but none of my food ever went missing again. I hope the experience was enlightening for them, and they still remember the time they played with spicy fire. Posted by Sathona, I undercooked my food to get back at a food thief. I started working at my new workplace about 6 months ago. Most have been here for years. There's an office food thief that steals people's food and even throws away their Tupperware. She's been here for 10 plus years, and people have adopted the mentality of, it is what it is, we can't do anything about it. She only takes one person's food per day. They know exactly who the food thief is and just suffer through it. They even call her the food goblin. She took my food the last and first time I put it in the fridge, resulting in me just not having food until 9 PM. I've kept my food at my desk since and stopped eating food that needs to be refrigerated. Till I had an idea. I half cooked some food, made it look appetizing, but didn't make it even slightly edible. I left a typed up note on the food stating it wasn't fully cooked, but I didn't leave my name on it. She ate the food and almost died and had to spend 8 days in hospital. How is this petty revenge? God, what would OP consider pro-revenge? The company can't figure out whose food it was, and now she's afraid to come to work and thinks somebody wants to end her. This is what I'm talking about. If she did die, how could the police charge OP? They didn't give her the food. It was even labelled as not being fully cooked. Unless the police found OP's Reddit account saying it was done intentionally, how could they prove intent? I don't know how this video became about how to get away with murder, but I guess that's where we're at. It's been a couple weeks since she returned, and she thinks everyone is out to get her and won't go near the kitchen. She even bought her own mini fridge for her desk area a few days ago. Edit 1. It was my homemade chili, which has chicken and beef in it. I've had some people tell me that sounds gross, but everyone who said that has changed their mind after trying it. Who would eat this after what happened? I basically made a full pot, got the idea before it was even close to being properly cooked, scooped some into a Tupperware that wasn't my typical Tupperware set. Edit 2. Quick note, if the chili had been cooked in a pot for about 30ish minutes, till boiling really, it would have been safe to eat. But I usually slow cook my chili for half a day. If she hadn't stolen it, I'd have likely used the pot at work to fully cook it and eaten it myself. So remember people, unless you're okay with the light poisoning, don't take other people's food. Also, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.